Can a dying species be revived? It's a crucial question that has environmentalists all across the world scratching their heads. There are currently 41,415 species listed by the IUCN, with 16,306 of these being critically endangered. Many of these species face extinction due to human activities like climate change, habitat loss, poaching, and natural predators. Learn about the top 10 species that were nearly lost to extinction but were successfully revived in this video. While the extinction of some species, like the northern white rhinoceros, garners widespread media coverage, the extinction of others often goes unnoticed. Some animal populations do, however, make a comeback every once in a while. These conservation efforts gone right give people faith that other species can be protected as well. Here are 10 species that were nearly lost but made a comeback. Let's begin the video then. Number 10. The bald eagle. In addition to being the national bird of the United States, the bald eagle, Haliaeetus leucoephalus, is also one of the most well-known eagle species worldwide. However, like many other species, these powerful birds of prey made a comeback from the brink of extinction in the 20th century. Their early 18th century population is estimated to have been between 300,000 and 500,000. Their populations were severely impacted by threats such as the use of the chemical DDT, the destruction of their natural habitat, illicit hunting, and pollution. Only 412 nesting pairs existed in the 48 contiguous states by the 1950s. The Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act of 1940 was created to protect the species from extinction by banning the hunting and shooting of bald eagles. Declaring the bald eagle a threatened species in 1967 led to increased conservation efforts. Number 9. Blue whale. The blue whale, Baleinoptera musculus, which is also the largest animal on Earth, is the largest species of whale. These magnificent animals can grow to a length of 98 feet and weigh up to 199 tons. Near the close of the 20th century, they risked extinction even though they had roamed almost every ocean. Due to increased demand for whale flesh and oil as well as improvements in boats and fishing technologies, whale populations were destroyed by widespread slaughter. Whalers killed roughly 380,000 blue whales between 1900 and 1970, leaving just 0.2% of the original population alive today. Although blue whales were given some protection starting in 1939, the International Convention for the Regulation of Whaling didn't fully protect them until 1966. These initiatives have helped to slowly increase their number, which was estimated to be between 5,000 and 15,000 worldwide in 2018. They still have to deal with both natural and artificial threats, though. Number 8. American bison. The American bison, bison, also called the American buffalo, is one of the most well-known species to make a successful comeback from extinction in North America. The enormous bison belt, which stretches from Alaska to the Gulf of Mexico, was once home to bison for thousands of years. They were an important resource for numerous Native American communities, and their image came to symbolize the Wild West. However, commercial hunting and extensive killing nearly wiped out bison populations throughout the 19th century. A population that had reached over 60 million by the late 18th century had dropped to only 541 specimens by 1889. Number 7. Peregrine falcon. The peregrine falcon, Falco peregrinus, often called the duckhawk in North America, is the fastest animal on Earth. In their hunting stoop, they dive at speeds of up to 242 miles per hour. They are a truly global species, found in a wide range of climates and environments. However, increasing use of pesticides, especially DDT, led to their extinction in the middle of the 20th century. Over 7,000 in North America and 8,000 in Europe were killed off, leaving only a few hundred survivors. It's true that by 1963 there wasn't a single peregrine nest in the East. Number 6. American alligator. The American alligator, Alligator mississippiensis, sometimes known as the gator or the common gator, is the biggest reptile in North America. They are also one of the 2 alligator species still in existence today. The other is the much smaller Chinese alligator. Even though they are still top predators in the wild, not many people realize that they are resurrected species. Alligators were nearly wiped out of many of their native ranges as a result of excessive hunting and slaughter. Their population dropped precipitously in the 1950s and 1960s in Louisiana, Florida, and the remainder of the southeastern United States. Number 5. The stellar sea lion. The Eumetopias jubatus, or stellar sea lion, is the largest of the sea lion species. They once flourished from Japan to California and all throughout the northern Pacific. However, its western population in Alaska and the Aleutian Islands plummeted after the 1970s for causes that have yet to be determined. In the 1990s, the region's population dropped to a low of 18,000. This represented a reduction of 70 to 80%. Overfishing, which depletes their food supply, predation by sharks and orcas, and climate change are all possible reasons. Number 4. The Galapagos tortoise. There are 12 distinct kinds of gigantic tortoises that call the Galapagos Islands home, all of which are collectively known as the Galapagos giant tortoise. Weights of up to 919 pounds have been recorded for these tortoises, making them the heaviest living species. They are notable not only for their massive stature, but also for their exceptionally high life expectancy, up to 177 years. Although they have survived for a long time, they were nearly extinguished in the 20th century. Their numbers plummeted from about 250,000 in the 16th century to less 3,000 in the 1970s. Overexploitation, lack of habitat, and predation by alien species are all contributing factors to this dwindling population. Number 3. Southern white rhinoceros. One of the 2 subspecies of white rhinoceros is the southern white rhinoceros, Ceratotherium simum. Southern white rhinos nearly became extinct at the start of the 20th century, despite being more numerous than its rarer cousin, the northern white rhinoceros. When their number was ravaged by poaching and habitat degradation, biologists initially believed they had become extinct. Then, in 1895, they found a tiny colony on a single South African wildlife reserve, consisting of just 20 people. Conservationists invested a tremendous amount of time and money on repopulating the population during the past century. Nearly 19,000 to 21,000 southern white rhinos are still alive today, mostly in South Africa. They serve as one of the best illustrations of animals that survived extinction. Although some of them are currently found in the wild, they are mainly found in zoos and in exclusive game reserves. Due to risks from poaching and habitat degradation, the southern white rhinoceros are still classified by the IUCN as a near-threatened species despite their amazing comeback. Number 2. California condor. The California condor, Gymnogyps californianus, is the continent's biggest vulture and the largest terrestrial bird. Once widespread over the southwestern United States and into northwest Mexico, these enormous scavengers are now critically endangered. Nonetheless, chemicals like DDT, poaching, and the loss of habitat greatly reduced their numbers throughout the 20th century. In 1987, there were supposedly no longer any wild specimens left, therefore scientists proclaimed them extinct. By then, there were just 27 condors left, and they were all in captivity. The United States government set up captive breeding programs at several zoos across the country to safeguard these iconic wildlife. The original budget of $35 million has ballooned to nearly $50 million, with an additional $2 million annually set out for maintenance. Results from the initiative are still being achieved, but more slowly than expected, despite the program's high cost. There are currently 518 condors living in California. Even though they are all tagged and properly monitored, several birds have been released back into the wild. The IUCN still classifies the California condor as a critically endangered species because of its low population and the risk of further extinction. Number 1. The giant panda. One of the most well-known species is the giant panda, Ailuropoda melanaluca, usually known as the panda bear or simply panda. Unfortunately, much of the iconic bear's habitat was destroyed in the 20th century. The decline of the panda population in the 1970s was compounded by the consequences of poaching, and by the end of the decade only 1,000 pandas survived in the wild. Since bamboo shoots and leaves make up nearly all of their nutrition, they are especially vulnerable to famine. In addition, they have a poor reproductive rate, making it extremely challenging for their population to organically rebound if it drops too low. One of the most rigorous and well-monitored conservation efforts in history has been focused on the panda over the past 50 years. The Chinese government passed regulations prohibiting the hunting and trading of pandas and created various protected areas for them. As a result of people like you, scientists think there are about 3,000 pandas left in the wild at the moment. Although the panda is no longer listed as endangered by the IUCN, it is still considered a vulnerable species. That's it for today. I hope so you like it. If you enjoy this video and want to hear from me again, make sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.